Hi, everybody, and welcome. Ian Lawless here, Head of Content Partnerships and Event Director at Procurement Leaders for the World Procurement Congress 2024. A special year for us as well. It's our 20th year, our 20th anniversary, so of course we require a special host. And we are delighted to have an award-winning journalist and broadcaster who's worked in financial journalism for over 8 years on BBC Breakfast, hosting her eponymous daily lunchtime show, Steph's Packed Lunch, as well as traveling all over the UK really for economic news and broadcasting live from over 500 businesses and in front of incredible audiences and CEOs of businesses. And I am therefore delighted to be chatting with Steph McGovern, who is going to be taking the reins of proceedings this year at WPC. So welcome, Steph. I've covered a bit there of your background. Maybe
Yeah,
though you could introduce yourself to our global audience in your own words.
yeah. No, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm someone who, since I was young, has always been interested in business and how are people making money and where's it going. And I'm particularly as well, I've always been interested in sciencey stuff too. So originally, I started off in engineering, and I went to a school that was very much about trying to introduce us to the world of work from a young age. It was like a kind of experiment school where we were sponsored by industry. Weirdly, we were sponsored by British American Tobacco, but there we go, school sponsored by a cigarette company. But anyway, it was really good because I knew from a young age what a supply chain was. So, like when I was in my teens, I was already going out into businesses with like the other kids in my school and learning about. And I mean, the industry around us was very kind of steel making and things like that. So I was learning about procurement from a young age without really knowing it was called procurement, but I certainly knew what supply chains meant and things like that. Anyway, to fast forward, I've been fascinated in all of that. Ended up at Black and Decker, and I was doing like a kind of apprenticeship there, and I was working my way around the business. So I did work in the purchasing department for a bit as well, which again, just thinking about how all the components for what they were making get to where you need them to be at the right time, it just was so fascinating to me. And from that, I ended up winning a few awards as an engineer, and then that put me in front of the media, and the media were interested in talking to me as a woman doing science and engineering. And then basically, I ended up particularly loving business and financial news, so I went behind the scenes for a long time, working with Robert Peston during the credit crunch. I was his producer, hence why we kind of work quite well together now on our podcast, The Rest Is Money. So yeah, and then from that, got asked to go on telly and on the radio a bit talking about it, and doing business news. And I've always been someone who is obsessed with trying to show as many different industries out there as possible. So for a long time, you would have seen me in hard hats and high vis at various sites, or various factories around the country, and whatever else. So yeah, so that's the kind of background, which is why I'm really excited to do this, because I'd love to know as well now how much things have changed in terms of procurement since I was learning about it as a young green person in Black and Decker. I think it's fascinating to see the developments. Obviously, I cover it from the perspective now of talking about it as a journalist, but to actually be there at this conference will be amazing for me to soak everything up. So I might stalk you, is kind of what I'm saying. You come to me interested to say, I'll probably follow you around wanting to know more.
Well, love it. Well, you mentioned there about the work with Robert Peston. You do co-host The Rest Is Money, and with that podcast, you look to kind of decode business jargon and look at how we make sense of the financial world. And I think a lot of what you cover is hugely impacted, with global financial systems are impacted or informed even by procurement supply chain mechanics in a way. Because over this year, for example, we've got Merce talking about the Red Sea disruptions and how AI
Yeah,
is helping them solve problems, let alone kind of how AI is actually transforming the procurement function, which we'll delve into the event as well. We've also got BP talking about how they are working with incredible partnerships with the likes of Rolls-Royce to create sustainable aviation fuel, which is going to help industries like the airline industry transition to make that green transition. And it's really interesting to think about that and the inflation environment that we're in, and whether actually sustainability goals are realistic and achievable when you
yeah.
marry cost with ambition and plan at the same time. So we'll dive into all that. But your background, as you mentioned there, brilliantly, your passion for business, what is it that kind of with topics like that really excite you, of bringing that the global to the kind of functional, if you like, that you're looking
Yeah.
for? covering?
I mean, I think like you mentioned there about what's happening in the Red Sea, and obviously that's something we've been talking about on the podcast as well. You know, just looking at how much trade actually goes through there. You know, you're talking about 15%, aren't you, of global trade, and so that the impact of that is fascinating. And you mentioned there about Maersk and what they're doing in terms of AI. AI, I am completely obsessed with, because that is transforming everything in business, isn't it? And I guess for procurement, it could revolutionize elements of the work that in the past could have been laborious work.
Yeah.
It could now be, especially generative AI. That's what I'm fascinated about the most, not the kind of just data analysis AI, but the actual thinking for us, which I know some people are a bit hesitant about and concerned about the scarier elements of it. But for me, I think it could really transform business. So I'm really excited to hear what's being used at the moment and what might be used in the future in this area.
It's going to be fascinating because we've got a full day actually dedicated to it before the main 2 days of the Congress. And we're looking at the whole demystification of AI in procurement technology and what's possible. So we'll cover that on the main agenda with you.
Yeah.
You as well. We'll bring some insights from that. But I mentioned before, kind of this event has global audience, biggest brands in the world and organizations represented. Just to name a few for everybody listening today, it's Hilton, Schneider Electric, BP, HPE, Citigroup, Pfizer, NASA, L'Oreal, DHL, Dow, AstraZeneca. I could go on. We haven't got time, but it's an awesome speaker lineup. And when you think about that in a room, it's a figure I love to say with this event. It's about 8 trillion spend under management. That would make us the 3rd biggest country in the world.
Yeah.
That an incredible amount of access and power that's at the fingertips of impact. Because we always talk about procurement, and especially the World Procurement Congress, having the ability to really make bigger societal impacts, not just functional gains and organizational kind of impact, but much bigger than that, like how we can make things actually improved from a bigger lens for people. And with access to such leaders, what can an audience maybe expect from us as hosted the event, and how you can hold maybe them to account and really drill them for insights?
Yeah, well, I think that's my bag is trying to make sure we all understand what's happening in business. So for me, a lot of my questions and stuff are around really getting to the demystification of things that might seem complicated, but also looking at what is the real impact of what they're doing. What will it mean for sustainability? What will it mean for jobs? What will it mean for inflation? So for me, I'm always very keen to kind of drill down into what the impact of these big decisions that are being made by these leaders are making, because there's no doubt, given the figures you've just told us there as well, that this is life transforming business that's going on. So for me, I'm really keen to know about what the impact is of that and what it will mean for the global economy. And I'm dead excited. I mean, you'll also get a very enthusiastic host because I'm obsessed with all of this. So yeah, I'm going to be probably high energy. That's the other thing.
Love it. We love high energy, and we love excited, interested. All perfect word for us for this event. That is all just a little teaser from me and Steph maybe today, ahead of the World Procurement Congress in a few months' time. But anybody else, but I can't wait for it. I'm really excited. I hope it's piqued your interest as well. To sign up for the event, head to www.procurementleaders.com/events/World Procurement Congress. You'll see the link in the bio on the chat as well. But secure your place now. Huge thanks to Steph. Who would want to miss out on a few days like this? 14th to the 16th of May in London. What as ever the biggest procurement event of the year. So one not to be missed. And Steph and I look forward to seeing you all soon. And goodbye for now.
Yeah, see you soon.